My name is Nir.
And my name is Cora.
And you're watching Anime TV. Magic times, it's the holidays, everyone's favorite time of year. If you follow any of the Super Cool Nerd Show's Instagram, you can see just how much holiday cheer we have, especially Jason, huge fanatic. Anything he says otherwise, it's all propaganda. Ignore it. I promise you, he really loves it. But we're here to talk about anime, and that's what we're going to do. So let's watch some anime. We know the drill. We come in, we talk about an anime, we tell you if we like it, we tell you if you don't, and then you decide whether or not you to believe us or not, and that's fine. The inbox gets filled with hate mail or not. It's almost as someone came in with a stampede of sorts, just decided to wreck everything in sight. It's ridiculous. Like, you just take what we have and throw it back at us, and even though we just sat here calmly just trying to drink some wine and
you know what? It's fine, though. They sent us a sign of goodwill.
Oh, good.
Are those donuts? Oh, wait.
Just...
Oh my god, you're so good.
And just like that, that is the topic of today's anime, Trigun. Jason, I had never seen Trigun before. I had heard about it, but no one ever in my group ever talked about Trigun. It was just one of those shows that people kept saying was either good or someone would say it was bad. It's just like any other anime. It has a mixed anime community. I loved it.
It's so good.
It was awesome.
So I discovered this anime back when I was in the military. I knew absolutely nothing about it. Nothing. It was a title on a shelf. That looks cool. That guy looks like a total... Is my mic on? Oh, my mic's turned out. That guy looks like a total badass in the red coat.
Yeah, I was always intimidated by the coat. Not in like a aspect of it, but, Cora gets this because, I used to draw when I was younger, and then you draw now. But with the more complicated you make a character's design, especially your main character, it just becomes intimidating to want to keep going. So I watched that and went, that's got to be a nightmare to draw.
I will say, back in high school, I did get commissioned to draw Vash and Wolfwood at one point, and I hated it only because I had to draw Vash.
Just
God.
But man, I went into this not really not knowing anything about it. When I sat down, I was concerned whether or not I was going to actually like it, but not in like a nervous sense. Jason and I generally have very similar taste when it comes to different types of shows, action figures, stuff like that. So I knew that Jason wasn't going to steer me wrong, but I went in there and Vash immediately started talking and I went, this guy's great. I love his personality.
Voiced by Johnny Young Bosch.
Which I didn't recognize at first. Like, Johnny Young Bosch has such a large range when it comes to any of his anime characters. Like, you'll sit there and you'll watch Bleach and go, that's Johnny Young Bosch. There's no way around it. You'll sit there and watch Sailor Moon. Again, it's him. But then you go into something like Trigun, or my biggest one that always threw me off guard was Eureka 7, where he played Renton. And you're just sitting there going, what? Johnny?
I'm so relieved. I was very worried about that.
You reek of tomatoes.
I know. When I was trying to run away, it got dumped all over me. Hey, would you mind reimbursing me for my dry cleaning?
Yeah, I only found out it was Johnny today. I looked it up because I was like, who is this voice actor? He's doing a great... It's Johnny.
It is greatness. I loved it from just because I didn't know what I was getting into when I picked up the anime, and of course, badass guy, red coat. He draws the gun, and then it cuts away, and then we come back to what actually happened with and then him going, ah! And I was like, and my immediate, who is this guy?
Like,
I have to say that was probably the best way to introduce not only just Vash, but his personality and just everything about him in those
He's a
few
whining
seconds.
crybaby.
I was trying really hard to find time to watch this anime because I don't know if we caught it on camera or not, but I didn't watch a whole lot of it because of just how busy we've been. It's the holiday season.
Yeah.
You don't have time for anything.
And we're busy.
That's why the rest of the shows are off. But we went and tried to watch it, and all I got was that first part of the exposition, but right when he was about to fire, and I was like, okay, I know where this is going. And I paused the show. And I went and finished. I got ready for work, went to work, came back, and I was like, okay, let's see what happened. And then
$60 billion $double man.
Yeah,
and he's an idiot.
They built all of it up, and I was like, this is perfect. And then I went back and I was like, there's only one season and a movie of this. I'm gonna finish this one.
And not the same thing, by the way. The movie is
yeah.
So
most anime movies don't generally tie to what's actually happening, but they're still good to watch. I mean, I know that Yu Yu Hakusho's movies are Cora's favorite thing in the entire world, so I mean, just gotta keep going.
I've seen better stories written by children.
But with that comedic stuff, this is a funny one too.
Yeah. And let's see, I was mentioning this to Jason a little bit before the show. There's a lot of little nuances in the show that just make it feel real. And they're technically like comedic moments.
Oh yeah.
Like subtle comedic moments, but they flesh out the world. Like when in the episode with the bank robbery, when Meryl flies open her coat, she's got all of those pistols, and they're all just like 2-shooter pistols, and she shoots them all, and they're just all on the ground, and you're like, oh, okay. And in anime, you just don't think about the consequences of losing all your guns and all that. And then her assistant's behind her, like cheering her on as she's picking up the guns. Yeah. And it's funny, but it's also like, well, yeah, someone does have to pick those up, don't they?
Yeah, you got to clean up the area, because otherwise you just got a bunch of guns laying around. And
exactly, and it was little stuff like that just kind of, added comedy, but it also just made it.
Yeah, it was the perfect little nods, because this by all means, Trigun's not set in any form of realism, because no one has a giant coat filled with 2-shooter pistols. But then
that we know of.
No, I mean, probably Jason does in his closet somewhere. But...
No, I don't do 2-shooters.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a coat that's filled with guns, I'm sure.
Jason, your coat of AKs doesn't really hide as well as her 2-shooters. Okay,
move on.
So. But it was like, you're right, she's just picking up the little stuff, and then they have like moments like that the entire series that I thought were hilarious too, because it's like, that makes sense where you're adding some realism in a show with no realism.
Exactly.
And like, I loved the characters, because even though we only have 3 main characters that stuck around to the point where I'm at anywhere, which is Vash, Meryl, and I do not remember the other one's name. Jason, what was the brown-haired one?
Millie.
Thank you. I knew it was I had it, I just couldn't get to it.
Millie Thompson.
And
I love her so much.
Like, I loved all of those characters, because at first I was like, these two have to be awesome, because she dropped this giant gun, and then they weren't, and they just followed all these guys around, giving them tokens of goodwill.
Yep. Meryl, voiced by Dorothy Elias Fawn. And
you never know when Vash the Stampede is going to show up, and then kaboom.
Oh, wow! Hi, Vash!
And Millie, voiced by Leah Sargent.
And they're both brilliant.
I love Millie's voice. I just love the inflections on her. She's one of my favorites.
I think one of the episodes that I really liked, especially with them, because like I said, I didn't get too far into it because of just timing, but when they're protecting the special girl who ends up being the marshal inside of the house, because they're trying to save everyone, like trying to save the water, and Vash just comes down from the window nonchalantly. And Millie's like, what you doing? He's like, don't worry about it.
And she's just like, okay.
She's like, sounds great. Just walked away.
Well, I was like, hello.
I love
that's my favorite.
Hello. Because it's not just a hello, it's a hello.
And at every moment, like with the bank robbing episode when they threw him down, like there's a giant, they're being held hostage. He's like, hello. He's like, hey, hello.
And when she rats him out when Meryl's around later on, and he gets that serious face, and she slugs him. But the whole time, the whole crux of the episode is, the first one is, Millie and Meryl are looking for Vash the Stampede. The man, the humanoid typhoon, the man with the $60 billion reward on his head. And they run into Vash. He tells them that's who he is, and they don't believe him.
To be honest,
because he's an idiot.
And like, so I already knew that obviously this is Vash just because I've known about the series for so long.
Man, I had to look it up just in case. I didn't.
Well, see, when I first saw this and I was first like learning about it, I mean, the first episode and the only episode I could ever catch on Toonami was episode 5, where he actually shows that he is the badass. He is Vash the Stampede.
That's him. The Devil's Helper who single-handedly reduced a city of 1 million people to ashes. The legendary outlaw, Vash the Stampede, is just over that hill.
Everybody really. Well,
Yeah.
actually, the town in that episode, they quite believed he was Vash the Stampede.
Exactly, but they were also desperate, and like that episode's great. Please watch it, please. It kind of made me cry a lot, but so I already knew that. But had I been going into this completely blind, I would have been like, "You are a lying little shit, aren't you? You're not Vash."
I went into that first episode, like I said, not knowing a lot about it other than just hearing about it. In fact, I even got the main character mixed up with a different anime. Like, I thought this was going to be way darker than it was going to be.
What did you get this mixed up with?
Oh,
I gotta
God.
know.
Some vampire show. They look nothing alike. But the animation style, from what I remember...
You're not thinking Vampire Hunter D, are you?
No, I'm not. I can't tell you what it is, because it would have been years ago.
Hellsing.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it was Hellsing.
I can see where you got similarities with it. Got it.
But only because I would only see clips of Hellsing, but then for some reason I always saw Trigun's Vash everywhere, and it was similar.
Yeah, those
without not knowing anything about them, that's how I got it mixed up. So I went in going, okay, well, this is probably what I'm watching, and then that's not what I was watching. And everything about Vash, I loved him, but I was like, is this actually Vash? Like, after I finished episode 1, I typed it in, and he was all that popped up in Google Images. I was like, okay, I love this. Just kept going.
The other, I love the old West music.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And
that line.
And the like it wasn't in the hostage episode with the town that, got taken over by that asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the use of bongos.
Mm.
Like, just like as Vash is like walking up like a badass.
Yeah, take note of the background music in this in these episodes. They're really good.
The background music I loved. I didn't like the intro song though.
It's a bit generic.
It's very generic. So every anime generally plays some kind of music or something that kind of gets you into the mood. And I'll admit, it's not a bad soundtrack for what's technically unfolding within the actual show itself. But I found myself skipping it after every time it played because I was just like, I don't care enough.
To that opening's credit, like what we're talking about, he's an idiot. All of the scenes are like him being a bad, and he's like doing dramatic.
It gives us a false narrative, and I kind of like that.
Yeah,
about
and
it,
it's like,
honestly.
ooh, he must. That sets it up. God, this guy must be the humanoid typhoon. No.
I mean, he can do those things, but he doesn't.
That was the whole point of episode 1. Is like when I got to the point where he was about to fire off, and they blacked it out, and I had gone to work because I saw that intro and went, "This is exactly what it was." Only for him to scream.
Thank goodness! I knew it. You are the girl I thought you were.
And cry and run away. Say, please don't hurt me. Just hand someone his gun at every moment. Like, here, just take it.
Here, you can use my gun if you like. Can you please bring it back when you're done?
Just
and Meryl is so annoyed with him.
Every right to be.
Yeah, I don't blame her at all.
Well, the one scene where they're running in episode 1, he's tied up, but somehow he gets untied.
Steals the donuts.
And when she's trying to yank them, and he's dodging every single one, and like down the rest of the donuts.
Only for the next episode for him to be at the house, and she tries to give them donuts, and he still takes the donuts.
I love the recurring theme of donuts, and I don't know
on
why.
the porch. He's just, these are great, and he's just eating them right in front of her.
To her annoyance.
I love the chemistry between the characters. It was almost as if you were watching a sitcom without watching a sitcom.
And it only gets better.
Yeah.
I'm really sad that I couldn't get farther because
Same.
I've always heard, well, one, because I mean this is amazing. I love Trigun. And the other reason is because I've always heard so much about Wolfwood, and I see him everywhere, and I'm like, but who is he? Why does he have a giant cross? And that's all I know.
Yeah, I didn't get to Wolfwood either, but it was one of those things where just kind of going into this, I feel bad for having put it off for so long and then got into it, and we just happened to pick the show this time during a time where it's Christmas season, things are busy.
Yeah.
So didn't have enough time. Like this morning, I basically just kept watching as far as I could. It was like, I can probably get to the first 3. And by the time I was done with episode 3, I was like, I'm just going to keep going. I don't care.
This anime, for what seems pretty simple, gets, I don't want to say more complicated, but there's so much more to the story.
No, yeah.
Once you get further along. You also meet later on in the episodes, well, still be revealing more of the characters, but Million's Knives, which you guys have not met yet.
I know of Knives, though.
Okay, yeah, then you'll find out a little bit more about him. I don't want to spoil it for you guys because it is that good. But later on, you meet more. There's more interesting characters like the Gung Ho Guns, who eventually will go after Vash, and they are so unique in their designs and the way the characters are presented. It's they're out to kill Vash. That's it. And all of them are so different. They're really great characters, and the character Vash does grow quite a bit going down the line. So he is this badass, but he plays the idiot because he has to.
So, looking at the series, because it's an older anime, obviously,
26 episodes.
Yeah, it's not a long show. But it really, if you think about it, it really does fit in with its time. So it came out probably around the same time what either Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z does, where you have the super badass main character who's an absolute idiot. And that's one of the reasons why people fell in love with that show as well. This is the same thing. It to the point where I watch this and I see these episodic episodes that are happening, and I know that it's going to eventually get its stride. Because I love the episodic episodes. That was some of the difference between like when we watched Cromartie, where I didn't care about the episodic episodes, but this one was more character development. I got to know what was happening. I can't wait to see where it goes when it starts hitting we're having the underlying arcs. Because if I can't put it down now, I'm afraid of what's going to happen when I get to the point where it's like, okay, next episode. I need to know what's happening. I got to go.
Not only that, the more time I have to think about it, the more frightening it becomes, and now my knees are starting to knock together. Oh man, I actually have to fight this guy! How can I possibly win such a battle or even have a chance to survive a fight with a guy who smiles with those evil eyes?
You hold like an entire Navy ship hostage.
Oh, geez. So like I said,
this story.
I found this series while basically on a deployment. Well, we're doing maneuvers up the East Coast. We were going to be gone for a couple of months. So finding that one episode and getting my time in the break room to watch it was, I got it and I'm watching, and a couple people come by. Oh, what is this silly cartoon you're watching? And whoa, that actually looks pretty good. And so more and more people from my crew were signing up, were coming in. Hey, you got the new Trigun? And so I was finding DVDs from Sam Goody Music or whatever, like all up the East Coast. While we were coming back, I found the last 2 discs, but I was missing the one before that, which I wasn't going to watch that one. I wasn't going to watch those last 2 unless I got that other one. And the guys were like, okay, well, let us watch it. No. Hey, man, give us the DVD. No. Y'all ain't watching it until I watch it. It was another week or 2 weeks before I found the DVD. And I swear, every day I would only loan out the ones that we had previously watched, so everybody could be up to speed. Well, I don't care what you. I want to watch the last episodes. Nope, got to watch these other. I think it was on like a disc of like 2 or 3 episodes, which everybody just hated me. But
back in the good old days.
On the final,
God, when box sets really meant box sets.
On the final episode, I like to think I pulled in at least 30 people to watching this anime when we played the last disc. There were like 30 people. Hey, we got that Trigun, right? And I honestly felt like, and it was a wide variation of people. So old, young. I felt like I had truly brought people together with anime, which is also a reason it kind of holds a special place in my heart.
Very fitting for Christmas, right?
Shut up.
Does that
You'll not trap me into your Christmas.
Does that mean that Trigun is a Christmas anime?
Don't make me holly and jolly you. Anyway, but the series does grow, and it just gets better and better. Yes, you got those little kind of filler episodes, but
the filler episodes are fun though.
Yeah, the characters are still the characters, so I love it.
With a show that let me start over that. When you have a show that has filler episodes, if the filler episodes are also enjoyable, that says a lot about the show itself. It's one of the reasons I like Gintama. There's a lot of filler in Gintama. Like, a lot. But all of the filler episodes are still fun. And they don't feel like filler, because it just feels like the show. And that's how I felt with Trigun. Because I know that some of those episodes at the beginning are filler. To kind of get the show stride.
They're exposition filler. Like, they're supposed to be there, but... That was like, you're right. A lot of shows lose a lot of fans when fillers happen. Naruto and Bleach are 2 of the biggest examples.
Do not forget One Piece.
One Piece too. Where they'll have seasons worth of filler, and that's when people started to lose interest. It's just, but this show's only 26 episodes long. Even if you have like one episode of filler, it still feels more appropriate than some of the other ones. I'm a huge fan of My Hero Academia, and those filler episodes in there generally are kind of hit and miss. Everything that was with Trigun felt great. Like, I will go back and watch it when I find time.
On Christmas, instead of spending it with my family, I will be spending it with my true family, Vash the Stampede.
Meryl and Millie.
Meryl and Millie.
I'm glad to actually watch this one because it is like one of those all-time favorites for me.
It's been on the list for a while.
Yeah, you just happened to pick one that was always on the list. You just pulled it to the forefront.
Yeah, and honestly, I just need somebody to make really good figures of these. I got some from Robotech, but I gotta need better ones because they broke.
I know my roommate has one of Vash that's
from
like
McFarlane Toys.
Like this tall.
McFarlane Toys.
Yep.
Nope.
It looks
better.
pretty.
I need Figma to step up. I'll give you the money. Give me all of the Trigun people.
I'll go with Figuarts more.
To be fair, since they're coming out with they've been coming out with a new G Gundam figure, and if they're gonna come out with new G Gundam stuff, I guarantee Trigun's on the list.
If anything, I would be more looking towards McFarlane just because of all the stuff that they're bringing out.
Yeah, they've done it.
Yeah, well, they could redo it. Like the new stuff, and they're consistently announcing new stuff. Like they just announced Cyberpunk.
We'll see.
Yeah,
yes. So I'm glad y'all liked it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Please go back and finish the episodes. You'll like them. You'll like them more. And one of my favorites, and I guess that's really all I got to add to that.
Yeah, it was really good.
You look bad. Are you all right?
How can you even have the nerve to ask me that? Huh?
Oh.
I'm alive again! Boy, that was really close!
Trigun is currently licensed by Funimation. It was licensed by TV Tokyo over in Japan. You can find it on the Funimation app. They have the whole thing, including the movie.
And if you don't have the Funimation app, you can find the entire series, sub and dub, on Funimation's YouTube channel.
Please go and support the official release. Unfortunately, this is the last episode of Anime TV for a while. We are ending it with season 1, ending right now. We won't be back for a while. We're focusing on some other projects that we have within the channel coming up in 2020. Anime TV will probably come back at some point, reworked. We'll see how it goes. But it's not the end. It's just a hiatus, if anything.
Exactly. Also, why we brought them
for goodwill.
For goodwill. And also, these are Probably some of the best donuts I've ever had. Just saying.
Shout out to Joy Donuts.
Joey Donuts in Richardson, Texas.
Make sure you keep an eye on all of our social media pages. Whenever Anime TV does come back, we will make that announcement. So keep following us. Follow the Super Cool Nerd Show. Follow all of our new shows like Nerds with Coffee and stuff like that that's coming out. And we will see you guys soon.